Okay, and I want you to turn to Exhibit 22. What year was this picture taken? This was in 2023. This is while we were on a cruise. What month did you go on the cruise? July, because we spent our daughter's birthday on the cruise. And can you turn to Exhibit 23? Yes. What is this a photo of? This is a photo of Timothy and our kids. And our son was pissed because he didn't want to take the picture. This is one of the ports when we got off the cruise. Okay, and in Exhibit 24, what was going on in this exhibit? The Christmas parade was downtown in Raleigh. This is Tamika on this side. Who is Tamika? Tamika is Timothy's mom. Timothy is right there. And on the other side is Timothy is his cousin. Well, that's kind of messed up. She's holding Bailey in that pink blanket. And in front of the Bailey is her son. And then is our son with the reindeer glasses, who you don't see pictured here. That is also here. Here's myself. Okay, then she stated Devin and Brene were also there. So the defendant and her husband, her then husband, were with you? Her then husband, yes. Okay. And can you turn to Exhibit 90? This is Timothy and our daughter. They were just being goofy in the living room with Poncho laying on the floor. Do you know what year this picture was taken? This looks like it was taken in 2023 based off how short her hair is. Can you turn to Exhibit 91? Now, what if any activities did you and your then husband do with the children in 2023? In 2023, you know we went on the cruise. My son was playing sports. He did basketball. He did soccer and he did baseball. So our son whines a lot. So like one of our goals was to get my son to be a boy because he's a big germaphobe. As you can see, he has a glove on. So it was to get him out of his OCD of being germy. Like he doesn't like germs. So our goal was with our son to get him more outside to get his hands dirty. So Timothy and I would take him to have his alone time. He was at once the only child. So we did a lot of outside stuff. What type of activities did Mr. Montague do with Bailey prior to the date of separation? He didn't really, at the first time, he felt like his daughter didn't like him. So me and my mom and his mom had to reassure him a lot that she's really just attached to me because, one, she was breastfed. She did co-sleep. My fault. She did co-sleep a lot. So she was more clingy towards me. But Bailey is a brat. When she feels like her daddy is not going to give her her way, she won't cling to him. She clings to whoever gives her her way, and I would give her her way. And so he didn't really interact with Bailey because if you ask him, he'll say, she's mean. She's mean. So it's not really much that he could do with her. We did have a trampoline outside in the back. So he would put her out on the trampoline and go back in and play his drums. She was not like the type that liked to be bothered. Wow. I'm reading the comments talking about wow. Okay. And after that date of separation, how much time was your husband spending with the children? After separation, he wasn't spending too much time with them then either. We did get a child custody order put in place for that, for the custodial time. I actually had to call him one day to beg him to spend time with his kids because the kids were asking me, where's daddy? And why is daddy not here? And when is daddy going to do this? And when is daddy going to do that? As you indicated, you had to call him. What did you say to Mr. Montague? I didn't say a lot of nice things. I didn't cuss him out or anything like that. But we had a stern, motherly, me defending my kids' feelings type of conversation where all I asked you to do was be a dad. Like, just show up. They're literally asking for you, and you have yet to exercise your rights to have dinner with them or anything like that. So he would only get them before me begging. He would only get them on his weekends that he was supposed to have them. And you use the term begging. Do you remember what month and year you had to call him to spend time with his children? It was actually a few months ago. I don't remember. It was 2025. I don't remember the month. I would have to go back and look because I actually recorded me fussing, but a few months ago, probably about 4. And you mentioned a custody order. Yes. Who has custody of their minor children? I have main custody. They're with me Monday. Well, I'm not going to disclose that information. And prior to the date of separation, how many days did your husband spend in the home with the minor children? Every day. What about nights? Every night. Some nights he came home late. Again, he was a football coach. So if they had a game or something and they traveled, and then he would go. But other than that, it was every night. Okay. And can you turn with me to Exhibit 26, please? Where was this picture taken? It was at the beach. I don't remember which beach, but we were at the beach. And my daughter Bailey is in the front, and behind her is Kobe. Those little fingers you see on the side is Timothy, and on the ground is Imani, his sister, and I'm in the back. What do you recall? What year? This was about 2023. And what was your date of separation again? March 14th, 2024. Do you remember what beach you went to? No, I don't. And you said that your husband's sister is in the picture, right? Yes, she's sitting on the ground in the black bathing suit. You can see it. And you indicated your son is where in the picture? My son is right behind the little girl. And there are some fingers in this picture. Do you know who they belong to? Yes, the hand with the wedding band, that's Timothy. And he was at the beach with you as well. Yes. With the children? Yes. Oh, my mom was there too, because that's her phone over there on the ground on the beach towel. And you can turn with me to Exhibit 88. So this is a picture. This was us on the cruise. We were going to drop the kids off at the little daycare that's on the cruise to have a little date night before the daycare closed. We needed a drink with the kids. They were being kids. What members of his family went on this cruise with you, as indicated in your previous testimony? It was quite a few that we had to take a bus to the port. Some took the plane, some took the train. But for the ones that were actually here, that's in court today, it was Imani Montague, Tamika Green, and her husband, Mike. I think that's about it who went there. That was there. All right. Now, it's going to be a personal question. Did you sleep with Mr. Montague on the cruise? Yes. How many times did you sleep with your then husband on the cruise? I would say about twice a day on average. How would you describe your sexual relationship with your husband in 2023? It was good. If he wanted it, he got it. If I wanted it, I got it. He got what? Sex. Now, in January of 2023, did you sleep with your husband? Yes. In February of 2023, did you sleep with your husband? Yes, I did. In March of 2023, did you sleep with your husband? Yes. In April of 2023, did you have sex or intercourse with your husband? Yes, I did. And in May of 2023, did you sleep with your husband? Yes. What about June, July, and August? Did you have sexual intercourse with your then husband? Yes. September 2023. Yes. October, November, and December, were you sleeping with your husband? Yes. Okay. And in November or December, you indicated that you slept with your husband? Yes. At any point, did you conceive another child? Yes. And can you tell the court about that? I did, because he wanted another child and I didn't. I did conceive another child, but I didn't know until I was in the bathroom. And you can see what it was when I went to the bathroom. I took a picture of it for the doctor and she confirmed that I did conceive about November or December of 2023. Yes, this is child number 3. Tim wanted another child. Akira didn't want any more children, but he did. Did you sleep with him in January of 2024? Yes. February of 2024? Yes. What about March of 2024? Yes. And when was the last time you had sexual intercourse with your then husband? I moved back to Durham April 1st, so we actually did have sex after our date of separation. So after March 14th of 2024, April 1st was the official cutoff because I was back in Durham and he had moved in with his then mistress, Brene Kennard. You said you moved? Yes. Why did you say that? He told me that that's where he was at. Okay, and earlier in your testimony, you mentioned that you put your husband out? Yes. What do you mean by that, Miss Montague? So I actually told him that he had to leave. The way our house is set up, the living room came with the door. It's an older house, so I told him I legally cannot put you out of the house, so I'm putting you out of the room. This side of the house, you go to the living room. And that's what I did. He slept in the living room. Why did you put him out? He touched Kennard, and I couldn't wrap my head around that because that's your cousin's wife. So I was really disgusted with him as a human being. As someone that was supposed to protect his wife and his kids, you allowed that to happen. It just showed how weak he was as a person, that he couldn't fight temptation. And what, if any, conversation did you have with your then husband about the defendant? I told him that she was staying. I told him that when she was staying, when I allowed her to stay at our home for claims of domestic abuse from her husband, her then husband, Devin, which was in fact a lie, that I was uncomfortable. She needs to go because it seemed like whenever I tried to sit next to him on the couch, she seemed to be closer to him and further away from her own husband. It's like almost prying her way in. I was severely uncomfortable to the point where I had to call my mom to let her know how I felt because he wasn't getting it when I was telling him that I was uncomfortable. I let him know that I don't know if I need to have a conversation or you need to have the conversation with Devin, but it's very uncomfortable. Okay. And you have those in text messages? Yes, I do. What you said to him in the text messages? Okay. Now let's back up. You indicated that you allowed the defendant to come stay in your home? Yes. Why did you allow her to come stay in your home? So I allowed her to come stay in our home twice. The first time was because, and I have proof of the messages, she actually told me that she didn't want to be with her family for the holidays because she had issues with them and they only seemed to use her for her financials. She stated that she didn't want to be with her mom because she seems to favor her twin sister, Corinne Kennard, because she's the prettier twin or something like that. Then she also said that her younger sister, Kayla, is a lesbian. Her mom is the strong Christian believer, so she's against it, but is for it because it's her daughter. So she feels like her mom was being biased towards that. She feels like Corinne wants her life and everything that she has. So she had a problem with her brother as well. So she didn't want to be around that. And so I was basically like, okay, well, just come over to my house. We're going to go to my mom's house to see my grandma, and then because they're in town. We were also going to Tim's people's house, which is his family, his grandmother's house. What year were you referring to? 2023. Okay, and you indicated that they came to your mother's house? Yes. Who are you saying came to your mother's house? Devin and Brene Mayo. Okay, and when you say Brene Mayo, are you referring to the defendant? Oh, yeah, yes, I'm sorry. She was married to Devin, Tim's cousin. Okay, so can you tell the court the last names of the defendant that you have become familiar with? I'm used to her. I don't know if she ever legally changed her name. We were actually supposed to go take a date, me and her, on old girls' dates, to go to the courthouse to change her last name and to get my son's birth certificate. I slacked on it because I was high in the NICU. But we were supposed to go to the courthouse together and get her name changed to Mayo. I don't know if she actually did it or not, but I'm used to her being Mayo or Kennard. So what is her last name right now? As far as I know, it's Kennard. I haven't seen any documents to support otherwise. Okay, do you know if she's married to someone? I've seen the marriage certificate supposedly flooded online. Because of her social media influence, I literally get... I don't know. And when you saw this post online, what did her last name say it was? They never say her name, my name, or our family name. They just call her Montague or something like that. They never just properly say Montague. Okay, and to clarify, you dated. Did you allow her to stay at your home 2 times? When was the second time? The second time is when Timothy actually called me and said, hey, babe, Brene needs to come and stay at the house or something, probably because Devin just rose up at her. And Devin just rose up against her. And I was like, okay, calm down. What's going on? Well, Devin tried to do this and Devin tried to do that. I couldn't really understand him, but I did get the understanding that it was a domestic dispute. And how did you feel about the domestic disputes? I've seen my mom go through domestic violence. I've actually been through it. Not as far as hitting, but I've been dealt with like verbal abuse before. But for somebody to say that somebody I considered a close friend is about to get hit or did get hit, I'm a genuine person. No question about it. Come over here. You can stay over here. You got beef with your family? Come stay over here. It's a safe place. What does beef mean? Beef is as if you have issues, family issues, or, anything that's not safe. So is it safe to say that you considered the defendant your family? I'm charging my tablet. I did. My kids called her auntie. As indicated in the Facebook post, yes. And to this day, my son is confused on why he is forced to now call her mommy. Now, after Miss Kennard came into your marital home, what, if anything, changed your relationship with her? Me and her, we had a relationship to where when we used to, now I'm a bad texter. I am horrible at texting back. I reply mentally for some reason and I'm not actually on the phone. But we would text back and forth. We would check in on each other to make sure we were good. I would see some posts because everybody has haters. I would see posts on social media and I would check in on her. She would check in on me because she knew I was pregnant and that my son was in NICU. We had a relationship where we could genuinely check in on each other and make sure each other was good. If she needed something, I would help her and vice versa. Okay, you indicated that your husband's behavior changed when Miss Kennard was around. Yes. Okay, do you know what month and year that was? It was towards the end of December, and I want to say up until the date of separation, March 14th. What, if anything, did your husband tell you about his relationship with Miss Kennard? So, his relationship with Kennard prior to us getting married, to be honest, he told me that Kennard and her sister Corinne, he told me that Kennard and her sister, so Brene and Kennard were hot in the tail, is what Tim would say about them, which means they were the ones that got around in school. We went to the local high school, Southeast Riley, and he told me that they would perform sexual favors at high school. So that's how I was introduced to her before he put Devin and Brene together. It was just so Devin can get what he called it a nut. They ended up actually liking each other and getting married. Okay, and you talked about social media. Yes. What is the defendant's occupation? Respectfully, to all those that actually have careers, I don't think social media is a career or any occupation. I just think it's something to do. Okay, can I rephrase the question? What does the defendant do for a living? She eats on camera. She spends money. She documents every little thing of her life. I mean, as far as for pooping in a bathroom, like she records it. Were you ever posted on her videos? Yes. Now, what, if any, social media platform did the defendant use for her job? As far as for platforms, I've been harassed. As far as for platforms, I have been harassed on YouTube, TikTok, Facebook, Instagram. I don't know if she uses what is now called X, which was formerly known as Twitter. I don't know if I was mentioned on Snapchat as well. Okay, and what about your children? Were they ever posted on her social media? Yes, they were. How did you feel about that? Before everything happened with the separation, I was fine with it because she actually asked me before she posted. She would ask me, but after the date of separation, what happened with the videos in your children? I knew because she was flaunting my husband before the date of separation. I knew that it was going to be a whirlwind of problems because I did work for the public school system. One of my students actually, Miss Montague, isn't this your husband? And I was like, oh shit, sorry. I was like, oh my God, please. So I told him like, don't post my kids because I don't want them to have a social media footprint and be treated differently because of it, which they are now because of her disregard for my children's safety. So to clarify, you stated that your children were posted on her social media platform? Yes. After the date of separation? Yes. After repeatedly being told not to. I told her myself. Tamika, Tim's mom, has even said it. Everybody told her, do not post the children. Leave the kids out of this. Okay, then there was a little court interruption. Okay, give me a second. I gotta skip a couple pages. Okay. Okay, so back to Attorney Robin. I'm handing you what is marked Plaintiff's Exhibit 451. Do you recognize this exhibit? Yes. And what is this? Is the alienation of affection criminal conversation and attorney's fees. Did you file this complaint? Yes, I did. Your Honor, I asked for the court to take judicial notice in Exhibit 451, which is the amended complaint that my client filed. Are you moving it into evidence? No, Your Honor. It's part of the court file. Let's skip a couple of those. Okay, so you indicated that the defendant worked as a content creator, right? Yes. And she still works as a content creator? Yes. About how many followers do you believe she has? She has over, I want to say, 3.5 million across all platforms. Well, you have seen the number of followers yourself online. Again, I get screenshots of everything. People have even texted my personal number. Now, to clarify, what, if anything, made you feel that the defendant was having inappropriate conversations with your husband? I feel like she crossed a lot of boundaries, which raised the question, which boundaries did she cross? I might be a little old school, but your husband is on one side of the couch. Why are you sitting next to mine? My then husband was raised by his father, which... Calvary. Why are you opening her door and not my door? She has a husband. He's right there. Little things like that. I'm old school thanks to my mom and dad. I don't feel like that's too much. That's just you crossing the boundaries. Especially if your spouse is there. It's one thing if he's not. Fixing his plate instead of fixing your husband's plate. Little things like that make me very uncomfortable. I saw the neglect that Devin was getting and the extra love that Tim was getting. Now, you indicated earlier in testimony that you were uncomfortable. Yes. About Miss Kennard staying in the marital home? Yes. At what point did you become uncomfortable? So it was at one point, I'm an early bird. I'm an early bird. I go to sleep pretty early. 8 o'clock, I'm in the bed. So when I would go to bed early and I would wake up like 10 or 11, I noticed that for him to have to be to work the next day, you're still up and you're still in the living room. Again, our living room has a door and it shuts. You're in the living room with her, and when you need to be in bed, you didn't help me put the kids to sleep and you have the door shut. Stuff like that made me feel uncomfortable because why do you need to close the door? I have a door. I can close it to the room, but to shut you guys off on the other side of the house, I thought that was very inappropriate and it made me very uncomfortable. That's the stuff that my kids do when they're trying to be sneaky. Now, did you ever express how uncomfortable you were to Mr. Montague? Yes, multiple times. And how did he reply? At one time, I mentioned it to him and he just brushed it off and went to the next conversation. Another time, he made it seem like I was being delusional, that I was just imagining things, even if I've seen it with my own two eyes and felt them with my own emotions. Another time, I started questioning him more and more about it. He just straight denied and denied. There's nothing this, there's nothing that. Me and her are not doing this, we're not doing that. When you say deny, what was he denying? He was denying that him and Kanar had anything to do with each other, like in a sexual way or anything more than a friendship. Okay, and do you believe your husband? Unfortunately, I always believe my spouse over anybody. They get first. Out of respect, I just believe them first. I've always been the type to, can't nobody tell me about my spouse. Nobody. We have that type of relationship where nobody could tell me he did something and I would straight up believe them. He had to tell me he did it. I would not believe anybody else. So if he said he didn't rob the bank and he robbed the bank, I don't care if you got him on camera. He didn't do it. Now, let me ask you this to clarify. What do you believe his role, or what do you believe is your role as a wife? I do believe in gender roles. Again, I'm old school. As a woman, I believe I'm supposed to be the nurturer. I'm supposed to take care of the house, the kids, to a certain extent. I don't do the whole 100% thing. Take care of the house, the kids, support your husband no matter what. Make sure everybody is okay in your family that you created. Who is the head of the household? Financially,